Most freelancers spend 5 to 6 hours writing a single blog post. I'll show you how to get paid $15 to $35 an hour on Upwork whilst letting AI do 90% of the work in less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee. These jobs are live on Upwork right now. And no, I'm not sitting there writing 2,000 word posts myself. Instead, I press one button and I let an AI automation do all the heavy lifting for me. In this video, I'll show you exactly how that automation works step by step, why clients are happy to pay for it, and how you can copy it to start landing gigs today. Blog writing is one of the most consistent jobs on Upwork because businesses need fresh content every week to maintain SEO, and they're willing to pay $15, $25, and even $35 an hour. The problem? Writing takes time, and honestly, most freelancers just burn out. But what if you could deliver better SEO-ready blogs in minutes instead of hours? That's what flips this from a grind into a business. Here's a secret system that I use. Step one is the research agent. The user enters a keyword or a search term, and this agent uses Perplexity to search the web and basically research a topic. The next agent is a title agent, and this agent's only responsibility is to create an SEO-optimized title using the research topic. That's all it does. The body agent takes the topic and the title, and it will use this to create a 2,000 word blog post, complete with headers, hooks, and clear call to action. The alt text, tags, and slug agent will then use the content that's been created to create 5 variations of alt text, a set of tags, and the URL slug. And if you're not familiar with blogging, these are essential SEO components that help you get ranked on search engines. And each of these components has been optimized to use the main search phrase or keyword. Because in the world of blogging, that's how you rank. You take a long-term tail keyword and you make that the centerpiece. All the content that you create must be built around the main keyword or search term. The last agent will then create the meta description. And this is the small text that you see on the listing when you search for anything on Google. Again, this is a very essential part of SEO. And I'm using all the content I've created before this agent to create the meta description. And then once each component has been created, it will then save it onto a Google Sheet. Let me show you what the live output looks like. So to save time, I went ahead and ran this. And for the long tail keyword, I used the best foam roller for back pain. It took the keyword, did some research with the first agent by using the Perplexity node. With the research topic, it then created the SEO-optimized title. Once the title is created, it can then create a 2,000 word blog post using the title and the topic, at which point it can create different versions of the alt text, some tags, and the slug URL. And the last step is the meta description. Once all that's complete, it will then save it onto a Google Sheet. And this is what the Google Sheet looks like. The first column is the title, so you can see it's put in here foam roller for back pain, how to use it for relief. The second column is the body, and this is all in markdown text. So what I can do is I can just copy this into a WordPress editor, and everything that you see here with the hashtags, this will be like a H1 header, this is a H3, and so on. And this is a fully optimized 2,000 word article. The next column is the alt text, and you can see there's different versions of it. And so the alt text is useful if you have lots of pictures in your blog. And because I've created different versions of the same text, I've got more keywords to help with optimization, which ultimately gives it better ranking chances on the search engine. The same is true for tags. So you can see here, there's a bunch of tags that are related to the main keyword. And this is what the URL slug looks like. So it's the main keyword, but it's hyphen separated. And again, this is another metric for SEO optimization. And the last column is the meta description. And you can see that there's a highly optimized related description that centers around the main keyword. So while most writers are still busy brainstorming, you already have the entire article optimized and formatted. That's why this stands out to clients. Here's the magic. You're not just selling a blog post, you're selling a blogging system. Clients get consistent, polished articles with SEO built in, and that's worth way more than just the words on the page. One client literally told me, I don't care how you do it, just keep them coming. That's when I realized that automation isn't a shortcut. It's actually a great selling point. Let me show you how you can build an automation like this for yourself. The trigger is going to be a chat window, and the first node is an AI agent node. This is for the research. The input's going to be whatever the message is from the chat window, so you can leave that connected to the chat trigger. Make sure you got the required specific output format on. You'll see why in a second. And as with all AI agents, you need a system message. So for this, it's quite simple. You are the research agent for a blog. Your only job is to research the keyword provided by the user. And then I've given it some parameters and guidelines of what I want the blog to be optimized for, how to structure headers, how to structure sentences, whether or not to use emojis, that kind of stuff. Again, this is going to be on your writing style or your client's writing style. I've given examples of the types of blogs that some of my clients want and some of the clients that I've seen on Upwork want. And then I've given it an output format for JSON, which is a variable called topic. And you can see that it's created the output for topic, which is a string. And this is the content that you see that was saved on Google Sheets. Now to do the research, we're going to need to connect to Perplexity. So add the Perplexity node. And for the messages, we're just going to let it get it automatically defined by the model. The role is user, and that's all it is. Its only job is to research the web and get related content back to us. And the next 2 nodes are more or less the same, but the prompt is modified for their specific tasks and responsibilities. For the title, I've now given it a prompt to define below, and we're going to use the subject, which is the topic variable from the previous node. And for the system message, this time it's the title agent. I've given it some guidelines, some parameters, and I've told it that I want a JSON output format called title. So when it runs, you'll see something like this. For the body, it's more or less the same. This time I'm going to define below with the subject and the title because I have the title from the previous node. And for the body agent, here's what the prompt looks like. The most important thing is it needs to be SEO optimized, but it needs to be 2,000 words at the same time. Again, I've given it guidelines and I've told it that the output should be a variable called body. Once it runs, it creates a new variable that's a string, and this is the content that it will generate. For the alt text, tags, and slug agent, it's more or less the same, but this time I've given it the subject, the title, and the blog post which was created by the previous node. The prompt is you are the SEO agent. The guidelines are to create alt text, tags, and the SEO friendly URL slug. This time I've given it an output of 3 variables: alt text, tags, and slug. And the square brackets just mean that it's an array, which in layman's terms means that it's a table, because I've got multiple versions of the alt text. It's not just one line of alt text. The same is true for tags. And the reason for that is when you start building our blogs, you're going to need multiple alt text and tags, whereas you only need one URL slug. And so when it runs, this makes more sense. So the alt text 0, it just means that on that table, it's location 1 that we would normally associate with any table. This is 2, this is 3, and so on. And you can see that each alt text is slightly different. But again, it's optimized for the main keyword. Here's what the tags look like, but you can see that the slug is just one output. And lastly, for the meta description, we've got a subject, the blog post, and that's pretty much all you need. The prompt is you are an SEO agent. Your only job is to create the metadata for a blog post. Again, I've given it alt tag, alt text, tags, and guidelines. Once it's done, I've created a new JSON variable called meta description, which is a string and looks like this. And the last node is an update sheet node on Google Drive. But again, you can save this any way you want. It could be Airtable. You can even plug this directly into WordPress using the API. The reason I'm using a sheet is because I want a human in the loop step. If I'm going to build this for clients, I want clients to review it before it gets published on their blog post. So this is an append row. Just connect it up to a sheet, and then you just map each individual field. So for title, you just get that from title. For body, you get that from body. From alt text, we've got a variable called alt text. The same is true for tags and the slug. And then the last field is the meta description. And so you just drag and drop this over here and save it here. Once it runs, you'll see an output like this, but more importantly, it's saved on your Google Sheet. So there you have it, the complete system to get paid $15 to $35 an hour writing blogs on Upwork using AI automation. And if you want the complete workflow blueprint, click on the link in the video description, follow the on-screen instructions, and I'll see you on the inside of my private community. Before you go, smash the like button if you enjoyed this video, sign up to the channel and become a subscriber, turn your notifications on, and I'll catch you when the next video drops.